Hey again, folks. Moving on, we're going to talk about the scheduling mode within Microsoft Project. And Microsoft Project provides a way in which you can control the scheduling of your tasks two different ways. Manually scheduled, and you can really think of manually scheduled tasks as a placeholder tasks within the tool set. You can create these tasks without them affecting the rest of the plan. And as you know more details about the project, you can add the details in there. Okay, automatically scheduled tasks, when you create these, project assigns them a start, duration, finish date automatically. And then project updates their values automatically based on changes within the project plan. Changes, what are those? Well, those are basically the results of us executing the project. Okay, so let's look a little bit about those manually scheduled tasks. Now, let's first point out how you can tell what we're in the mode. If you look at the status bar here, status bar in the bottom left, you can see that this particular blank project, new tasks are going to be in manually scheduled mode. Okay, let's type in, I don't know, plan party. And what I can do is I can say, I don't know, maybe mid-October due date. Right, so notice that it's allowing me a lot of flexibility. Therefore, you can be very open in the way you plan this, right? Execute party. Okay. So if this is useful for you, this was once called Excel-like behavior a long time ago to try to get some people from using Excel over to using Microsoft Project, because what Microsoft found is the biggest competitor for Microsoft was actually Excel. But again, very easy way to actually just start jotting down some tasks within here and do some initial planning. Now, when it gets to the point where you say, well, you know what, I know when I want this to actually occur, you can either do this, you can change the date here, or you can change the mode. Right, so here's the first column, the task mode column. I can go ahead and change that to auto, right? And then I can change this to auto as well. Okay, and it changed it to today's date. The tool doesn't know anything other than, it's not going to translate the text that you had in there. It's just basically going to set it to, whatever today's date is, or what is the closest translation it can come up with. So that's basically the way you can initially plan with the manually scheduled tasks. Now let's go ahead and take a look at another use of these tasks, okay? Now here's a project that I had up before. You remember this one, we were looking at this earlier. Now I'm going to insert that task mode column. Task mode, there it is. All right, so we can see that these are automatic in case you can't tell. The blue bar represents auto schedule mode. The thumbtack, like so, represents manual. Okay, so the blue bar is good. The good thing about having auto scheduled mode is that as you have changes in your plan, the rest of the plan is automatically going to update to reflect those changes. Therefore, if we're always looking for a realistic timeline as a project manager, auto scheduled mode is really the way you would want to ultimately go with your project schedule. You do have an option with manually scheduled tasks, however. So let me show you what I'm talking about. Let's go ahead and change these down here to manually scheduled. And there they are. Now let's go ahead and I'm going to switch my table back to the entry table so I can see dates here. And I'm going to just give myself a little working room here. Start, finish. And then let's do this. Let's bring the Gantt chart into focus here. And then what I'm going to want to do is expand deployment just a little bit. Okay, so now look at the Gantt chart. You can see the blue bars. Okay, the blue bars are easily seen within the Gantt chart. The blue bars are going to be auto-scheduled. And then you can notice the difference in these manually scheduled tasks. You can see when I hover over to help dialog comes up and it states manual task at the very top. Very easy to see them within the Gantt chart. Very easy to see them in the task mode column. So like I said before, auto scheduled tasks are going to automatically update based on fluctuations, changes in the plan. Manually scheduled are not. If I look at the first tasks within post-implementation review, the design document lessons learned, this is scheduled to start on 1/2/20. And its predecessor is task 80, which is this one right here. Well, what if this task were to be delayed? What will be the effect on those tasks. And it's actually technically a milestone. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to update the task above it. I'm going to delay this by 10 days, and I'm going to expect this task to get delayed by a number of days. So let's change that. And see it, so it changed, right? Changed to 1.2 to 1.15. However, nothing down here changed, right? So even though the predecessor is 80 to number 82, right? Nothing changed there. Well, that's because we said before they're manually scheduled tasks. How do we reflect that change? Do we manually come in here and change the date? Well, no, you never really want to manually set the dates, because once that happens, it changes what's called the constraint on the task to a hard constraint, which makes your plan inflexible. And we'll talk more about that in a later module. What I can do, however, is highlight those tasks. And then notice in the task ribbon, schedule, group, there is a button here called Respect Links. When I click that Respect Links, I should see these tasks slide out to reflect reality. What's reality? Well, look at this here, okay? That is the dependency, and if you look, these tasks, right, they should actually be slid way back out here because the dependency is actually finished to start. And how do I know that? Well, because I don't see a suffix to any of these numbers. And if it was anything other than a finish to start, I would see an SS for start to start or an FF finish to finish and so forth. And again, we'll talk more about that later. Therefore, let's select and then click Respect Links. And there you go. Therefore, if you do use Respect Links because you want more predictability and you still want to have the benefit of the dynamic plan, you can to a certain extent. You can update your plan, and then you can go ahead and select the tasks and click the Respect Link, and then the tasks will slide to reflect reality based on the predecessor tasks, the fluctuations in the plan. And I can also see the blue change highlighting here that shows me exactly what changed as a result of, the changes or fluctuations in the plan. Now, when I'm in a project, how do I specify the default task mode? So if I were to go back to my original class project here, I can see the default task mode is manually scheduled. Now, what I'm going to do first is, let's go back to that project. I'm going to get rid of these tasks because I don't need them here. A couple ways I can do it. First way, I can just click right here on this within the status bar, and then I can either select one of those options. That specifies the mode for this project only. If you want to specify the mode for all your projects, you can navigate from the project screen, click on the file link, then click on options. And then within the project options, you can actually come in here and click on schedule. And then if I look down here in the scheduling options for this project section, there are a couple things I would need to change. First of all, it says new tasks created. I can see it's set to manually scheduled. However, do I want it for this project or all projects? And this is where I select that. Select scheduling options for this project. Can I select, see? You can actually select all projects, then change the option to auto scheduled. Click OK. And now when I start a new blank project, which I'll do here, file, new, click blank. And if you look in the bottom left, and even that pop-up dialog box came up to tell me, hey, Dan, your project's tasks are going to be in auto scheduled mode moving forward. So there you go. Hopefully that was helpful and give you a little more insight into auto scheduled tasks.